And welcome to this live talk show where we shall unpack policy, systems and reforms that affect everyday Ugandans. I'm Idris Matu Segawa, your host, and today we are diving into a critical subject, and that is road safety and the new Auto Express penalty system dubbed EPS. Now, as Uganda works to modernize and digitize traffic enforcement, this system is being rolled out as part of the Amendment Traffic and Road Safety Regulation Act of 2023. But what exactly is EPS and how does it work? Who is it meant to hold accountable, the driver or the owner of the vehicle? And what about you, the motorists, the border boarders, the pedestrians and the road users across the country? How does that affect you? Now, to help us understand this evolving landscape, I'm joined by the Senior Superintendent of Police, Michael Kananura, Chief Licensing Officer at the Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety. Afande, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. But maybe to clarify something on in the introduction.
Yes.
Superintendent of Police.
Okay.
You're promoted maybe one. Maybe it is also coming.
Maybe God is working in mysterious ways.
Amen. Then I'm also the Community Liaison Officer.
Indeed.
For the Directorate of Traffic and the Road Safety.
All right.
I'm glad to be here this afternoon, and thank you for hosting us. And to our viewers out there, a good afternoon to everyone.
And we are honored to have you.
Thank you, sir.
God works in mysterious ways. He might be telling you something.
Maybe a professor.
Well, for you who is at home, to be part of the conversation, go to our social media platforms and use the hashtags AutoExpressUG and the hashtag RoadSafetyUG. And be sure to go to our Twitter platform. There is a platform, an opinion poll that has been posted. Post your question there and the funder will be able to answer your questions very indeed cleverly. Afande, now to start the conversation, EPS is something new. People are very whispering here and there. They do not understand it. What can you tell us about this system?
Why? Well, thank you once again, my brother that has hosted me this afternoon. I wanted to first take back the viewers on what is happening on our roads. We could have also been maybe monitoring on social media. These days, you know, people give information on social media even before it is even before we
verified. Indeed.
Yeah, you hear people say, the bus has crashed and no one has survived even when. But what does that mean? It means that we have had, for example, if you look into last week, for example, we have had a number of crashes, and these, most of them, the majority, have been due to careless overtaking and speeding.
Yeah.
When you also look at our report of 2024, the majority of these crashes were caused by speeding and also unsafe overtaking. When I talk of unsafe overtaking, I mean situations where people are overtaking even when there are a number of vehicles ahead of them. So when an oncoming vehicle comes that has the right of way in its lane, and for you, remember when you're overtaking, you're borrowing someone's lane. So we normally witness a head-on. People overtaking in built-up places which are busy. There are many pedestrians probably, and motorists, motorcyclists, and everyone. Then you also now choose to overtake. Overtaking in corners, overtaking on hills and all that. So that combined with speeding now. Speeding, that one is obvious, we all know. That is situations where we drive beyond the prescribed speed limits given on particular places. Now there, that is speeding. We are speeding. For example, if we are in a place and they are telling us it is 30 kilometers per hour, and then you're driving 60 kilometers per hour, and of which, by the way, the majority of the motorists you see on the road, they violate that. They violate that. So all that is speeding. So the two things I'm talking about have contributed to 44.5% of the total crashes in our annual crime report of last year, 2024. And how does now speeding stand out to be the major or number one? Because whoever is overtaking carelessly, you find they are also now violating the speed limits. Take, for instance, if we talk of a built-up place and the speed limit, according to the new regulations now, we are talking of 30 kilometers per hour. And for you insist you want to overtake, you'll find yourself violating now the speed limits in that area. Because below 30 kilometers per hour, it is hard for you to overtake. And besides, those who are ahead of you, for them now they have obeyed. They are maybe in 20, 25, around there, maximum 30. So for you to overtake successfully, then you must have, or you violate. You find yourself violating now.
Driving beyond the speed limits.
Beyond the speed limits that are recommended in that particular place. Now, even when you're overtaking a number of vehicles, there are 4 vehicles ahead of you. And because remember, one, you want to drive the speed faster than the vehicles ahead of you they are driving at. And then of course you want immediately after you get back to the other lane before maybe you meet. So you find they're also like flying now because they want to get to the other lanes of theirs. So now speeding here now comes out to stand out as the major cause of road crashes on our roads. Every other type, most of them I've already shared with the things with you. I go ahead and say this has been due to speeding or careless overtaking. So speeding has been a major contributor. And guess who is dying in these accidents? They are people who do not have any control over these vehicles. Actually, this group, this category I'm talking about, according to our report of 2024, has contributed to the percentage of 60% out of 100. These are passengers. We know, we are all aware that if you're a passenger in a vehicle, you have no control over the car, even if you know how to drive it, but it is someone at that particular time who is the driver of that vehicle, who is now in control, in charge of the vehicle, and is the one doing what? Driving you. They are pedestrians who are using these roads on foot. And you hear all of a sudden the vehicle has lost control and has rammed into a pedestrian, or a pedestrian was trying to cross on zebra crossing. There are people who have been knocked on zebra crossings. All this in the name of speeding. So you can imagine that people who have died, mostly, the majority, do not have any control of these vehicles, motorcycles on the roads. Someone else behind the steering wheel now who is causing all this. Okay? So you can see how bad and how terrible
speeding
is.
And when you talk of speeding, recently we had the son of Sudil who tragically passed away. And again, it was attributed to speeding. But apart from speeding, what are some of these probably practices by road users that are affecting road safety in the country and probably have forced the government to think about the automatic express penalty system?
It has actually, when you go ahead into our report, you find out that these causes, most of them, are due to human error. So human error contributes to 80%. Actually, now this is actually a report according to the World Health Organization. Human error. So meaning that if we choose one day, one morning to get up when we are all saying let's be disciplined on the road, we are going to see these crashes reduce, or even they are no more, because everyone has chosen to obey the regulations and the laws on the road. So other than the speeding and the careless overtaking, of course there are others. There are others, things like following too close, things like hit and run. But what am I trying to mean? That it all originates or comes from the driver. The biggest percentage, the 80% that we are talking about now, it comes from, it is something to do with the behavior of the driver on the road. Okay? Now, meaning that if we tame the behavior of the driver, then we are good to go. And that's why you see, on top of the enforcement that we have always been doing as traffic officers, I know you have, wherever you get out to move on the road, you meet traffic officers.
Of course.
Yes, they are not just there for decoration, but they are there just to enforce these laws.
Yeah.
Hoping that once we enforce and do all this, what it takes, then we are going to see crashes reduce. We have not stopped at even enforcement, but we are also doing sensitizations. What are we aiming at? We are aiming at instilling now promoting behavioral change. Because if you really now talk to the driver and say, look here, if you overtake carelessly, you are likely to lose your life or you endanger lives of other road users. So please avoid this so that you are safe. And I want to tell you that when we talk to 10 drivers, at least 2 will pick what we are saying, and then they are careful on the roads and they are safe probably. But however, we are also realizing that sensitization without strict enforcement is like now entertainment. It's like you are singing and then someone is dancing.
He's enjoying without necessarily taking anything out of what you say.
I say, oh, now what is this Kanana saying? What is he telling us? That me, I don't overtake? And you see people, that's why you see in most cases towards the festive season, when the roads are too congested and people are moving here and there, people are determined to drive so fast because they want to get to places faster. They must get where they are going very faster, even when they have started their journeys very late. So just know that they are going to violate what? The speed limits on the road. Even people are fond of going to the bonds and they want these powerful vehicles. They even say, Njagale moto kensajja. What do you think is he going to do? He's just
to drive as fast as possible.
As fast as possible, so that they get to their destination so faster. So you realize that all this now combined is why we are seeing issues on the road. So the moment, like I told you, we choose as drivers on the road to just be disciplined, obey number one traffic, obey the speed limits on the road. I am telling you, we are going to see these accidents or crashes reduced by 44.5% because that is what is. That's what it's contributing to the total crashes in our country. Yeah. So if you all observe that, then we are good to go.
Afande, as police, what are the main challenges traffic officers face when trying to actually enforce these laws that are in place to control speed and also manage road safety? What are some of those big challenges? Because when you say speed limits, most of the people who have probably a permit to drive are aware the road signs that say this is the speed limit, this is how fast you have to drive. But again, constantly we see that people continue to drive at such a pace. So it causes an issue of wondering, why are people insistingly driving at this kind of speed and insisting on doing it in a way that basically saying, no, I will not follow the law.
Now, good. Thank you. Now that is a question for both me and yourself. I know you are a driver on the road. And for those ones who are listening, because now, these are things that we have always asked ourselves. Okay, we know, we are aware, this man has always come on the media and has showed us that speeding has become a problem. So what is the problem? Or what is the issue that you people cannot handle as traffic enforcers to ensure that now this speed thing is tackled and handled? And let me tell you some things that are being done by drivers, and that's why I started by saying that this is a question for me and you. And then I say that I know you are also a driver. You have been on the roads. You have driven on these roads. What do these people do? They know that, of course, we don't have systems that can monitor them. We are still doing some of these things manually, whereby we have checkpoints, and it is where at that checkpoint that you will only be able to check whether the driver is okay on the road, has all it takes, and then is also not doing the things of like overtaking carelessly and also speeding. You can only determine that as a traffic officer when that person now comes to you. So it is at that time that you can judge and know that this person is careless on the road or is okay. And this is a habit now to all motorists. They know first of all when they are on these roads, they know where those traffic officers are staged or their checkpoints are. And what happens that whenever they get close to these points where they're traffic officers, they are the most disciplined drivers. The most disciplined drivers. They reduce speed. So you cannot know that they have been speeding. No one is giving information. And we have been having the gadgets.
They quickly put on the seatbelt.
Yeah, we have gadgets of speed guns. So a speed gun, you point it at a vehicle and one vehicle at a particular time. So whatever the speed it reads, then if it is beyond, then you stop that person, and then you go ahead now to penalize or warn whatever. Okay. Now, what does this mean? 1, out of 10 vehicles that you find violating, you will stop them, and you find that only like 6 have complied by stopping. Others will even refuse to stop because they know what they have done. Or even others are too fast that it is hard for them to stop at a point
without causing
an
accident.
So they end up now violating by continuing or driving and just continue. Then you find us now again looking for them. And that our speed gun zone can capture 1 vehicle at a time, even when there are like 3, 4 vehicles violating. Okay, so all those are some of the issues and challenges. And then these drivers also, they monitor us. You find people on roads now driving, looking for police officers. They even know how to communicate. They know their languages. They communicate and ask one another, where are they? They are ahead there, 1 kilometer ahead, so please. Now they reduce, like I told you, and when they are there, they are very disciplined. You may think they are angels, but let them leave where traffic officers are. Again, they start doing what? They start flying. We have seen all these things. They know even how to pull seat belts, and you get hold of them from here. So they even wave at traffic officers. So immediately they leave. They know the traffic officers are no longer seeing them. Immediately they release, and here they simply it goes back and hits the other side. So we even have others, like when they have excess, they will offload. We know these things. They offload passengers, the excess passengers, put them on 2 motorcycles and tell them, let's meet ahead of the checkpoint. So not knowing that all these things, at the end of it all, they have an impact on you as the driver and the passengers in this vehicle. So these are some of the challenges and many other things that even where maybe the driver has stopped, has been stopped by this traffic officer, maybe someone will call. I've seen some people even take my number and they say, even others are not shy to call even before they start their journeys and say, hello, my permit is expired and I'm going to move. So they want you, you can imagine. Eh? So when they also get to these people, the officers also now compromise by either receiving some calls and say, please, that is my personal leave. Or I'm so and so, please leave that person. These things are happening on the roads. You have been moving on these roads and you are aware. So you can see that those challenges, and they keep on time and again, then we may not really achieve that much. How many traffic officers are we in the country compared to the vehicles that we have on this road? We cannot be everywhere. We cannot. So you'll find that in most cases, these people are violating in times where they are not traffic officers. You know, people have always asked us, for you, where were you? You mean you did not see these vehicles? No, we did not see, because where they were violating from, we were not there. Where they were having excess, we were not there. And when they came towards the checkpoint, they off-roaded and loaded onto the motorcycles. And none of you, the passengers in this bus, came out at least to tip a police officer that, look here, there is a problem here. None. That even where the drivers were driving recklessly, in corners, they were overtaking, they were speeding. None of the passenger that will come out to say, oh, traffic officer, before you go any further, there was a problem here. This person was driving. Because let me tell you, my brother, that every time we get a crash and we have to interview the victims, you get amazed by what they tell you.
They will tell you the man has been speeding.
Yes, those things they will tell you. For us, we knew, we saw this, we foresaw this. So when we insist, what did you do? So all these are challenges that people either may not be knowing, but of course, which we go through as enforcers, as people who are on the road trying to enforce that it is possible that most of the violations are hard for us to see. Look at these, most of the nasty accidents that we register, they happen in the middle of the night. I mean, they happen during the night, where maybe there are no traffic officers deployed. So it is hard for us to know. And that these drivers also, they know that now the road does not have. Others may think that our presence on roads is an inconvenience to them, not knowing that our presence on the road is to save their lives and lives of other people. These are some of the attitudes that really people have. Every time they see traffic officers, look at these men here.
So, Afandi, from what you're saying, I'm picking that there is a poor attitude towards officers by us, the road users.
What
do you think causes that?
No, but I think that is something natural, that whatever comes in terms of enforcement,
the law,
the violators, we always see it as an inconvenience. But of course, which is not the case. At the end of it all, for example, if I may ask you, what comes into your mind every time you sight a traffic officer on the road? Or what comes into your mind, for example, let's not focus on the traffic officers. You see a patroller, a police officer with a gun on uniform and is passing around your residence. What comes into your mind? You say,
something wrong
security
has
is now,
happened.
no, security is guru guru.
Yes.
That's what we say. Security is now tight. I am now safe, okay? Yeah. I am now safe. But then for a criminal, when they see traffic police officers with the guns, they are more scared instead. They're like, now little because what they wanted to do, they are longer. So basically, I think it's something that is natural. But me, I wouldn't love to see like people are disturbed by the presence of traffic officers on the roads. And I want to tell you that those who are good, those who are disciplined, they have always actually appreciated it. Like, I will see now very many traffic officers on the road, which means our roads are safe. We are now good, okay? Yeah, so really people need to change their, except for those ones now who are the violators. Yeah. For them, they love speeding and all that.
They are more comfortable in that way.
They are never happy.
And you know, at the end of the day, Afande, you mentioned something about speeding. And when I am driving on the road, most likely, and I see maybe a patrol speeding, what do you have to say about that? Because at times, you know, there is probably they're escorting someone, and that is understandable. But what about when it's just a patrol? Is that something legally allowed, or
for a patrol to speed? To speed,
even in traffic jam.
When you look at the law that talk about the right of way, those people that have right of way, police vehicles responding to emergencies
have the right of way.
Are part of that. Yeah. So seeing a kabangari that is running, probably it is responding to an emergency. Because for it to be delayed in jam or somewhere, then it can mean maybe the loss of some lives of people. Maybe for those now also who misuse it now, they are not responding to anything, but again they are doing what?
They are speeding.
And I want to tell people that as traffic police officers, we also have courts that handle us. When we also commit offenses, they can be traffic offenses, they can be these crimes that other people commit, because we're also human beings. We also have our courts that try us, and we are not in any way any special that we can also be taken to any other court like any other human being.
Well,
so they are also checked,
indeed,
like we do to other. And they also get tickets, by the way. They are also yes.
They are also ticketed.
They are also taken to. They also compensate the victims they knock, and they are taken also to prison like any other human being.
Well, for you who's watching and you didn't know, and I'm sure so many people are telling me, ask the Afande, why do the patrol cars speed? Well, now you know they are accountable. And to continue the conversation, go to our social media platforms and use the hashtag, as I said, hashtag AutoExpressUG and hashtag RoadSafetyUG. We shall be right back. Do not move an inch. Welcome back to our live talk show. I'm Idris Matusegawa, and we're talking the Auto Express penalty system and road safety. Are you safe on the road? Are you abiding by the law? That is a question for yourself to answer. But in studio, I'm with Superintendent Michael Kananura, the CLO of the Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety. Fande, before we took a break, we were talking about the challenges that you as the police traffic department face while implementing or trying to enforce these laws. But now that the auto new system, the express penalty system, has been introduced, how do you envision it helping you to enforce the laws on the road?
Yeah, thank you. Like I've been putting the challenges that you have had. And then you realize that not until when really we automate the enforcement, it is going to be a nightmare for us to put things right on the road. Looking at, for example, where now these traffic officers are few on the roads, and the few are there are being monitored by these motorists or drivers. And then I also went ahead to tell you that all this has been done, the enforcement and the sensitization, but I may not call it strict enforcement. No, because there are times, for example, you can mount a checkpoint, or you can put up an operation, targeted operation, and you say, today we are now looking for helmets only. And some guys who have no helmets choose to stay home. Or you say today,
I will not work today.
Or you say today, we are getting, like look at these DMCs. You think we have not been impounding DMCs?
I can imagine.
Let's see, our records show that we were able to impound 80,000, actually 85,000 motor vehicles which were in dangerous mechanical condition. But are they still there? They're still there. Why? Because every time we are to do an operation, these guys communicate. They have the best communication ever that even such may not even have. So immediately they communicate to one another, and they're like, you know what? Please don't come today. Keep your vehicle far. These guys are on the road. You only succeed to get like 10, 50 or something like that, but you not go beyond. And that's why you always monitor that our operations are conducted like for 2-3 hours early in the morning. Then after we know we have no business because these people are going to hide themselves. So the solution now comes to be the automating of these systems, especially when it comes to enforcement. Exactly. Now, automatic EPS now comes in, and especially to handle speeding. Whereby I told you that our speed guns would only capture one vehicle at a time, even when there are a number of vehicles violating. But the moment a traffic officer raises up the speed gun, it can only capture one car. You put your hand manually, stop. Sometimes they stop or they refuse to stop. But even when others have also violated, actually even people would ask us and say, but you are stopping me, yet the
someone
other person
behind me was driving at the same pace.
Yes, was driving at the same pace, even faster than me, but how comes the other one have not stopped? So now all these issues are really going to be solved by automatic EPS, because this is a system that can even capture 50 vehicles which are violating at the same time. And all the tickets are processed there and then. Whether in the night, whether early in the morning, officers are not yet there, it is done.
Nowhere to hide, indeed.
Nowhere to hide. And Sega, let me tell you, for you not to be able to know where these cameras are put. Because if you also get to know, now it means that when you approach, you are disciplined. When you bypass, again, you start your own things. So these cameras are put in positions, they're positioned in areas that these people do not know. For us, all we require people is to just be cautious every time, all the time actually. Not that because you're approaching the town, the city center, please reduce, or you're on the highway. No. Whenever you are, make sure that you observe the speed limits, knowing that cameras are there and they are going to capture you while violating, and then what follows, it is not something good. So you rather avoid speeding, save your life and save lives of others, than now speeding and getting those fines.
Afande, apart from the different speed limits of different roads, is there a limit nationwide that is accepted? Because someone was asking me about the same issue when they knew we were having this talk. Is there a standard that you can't go beyond this in Uganda?
Yes. Now, according to the new regulation, I think people are aware that the speed limit regulations were revised. Actually, they were revised. If you remember what the Parliament passed, that and increased the fines to 2 million for those who violate. But that was for court. So for the Ministry of Works to operationalize this law and put it into regulations now, it was worked upon. And we are now saying we are able now to get the field as traffic officers and give tickets. Just like I'm going to explain to you how the EPS will be giving tickets particularly for speeding. So when it was revised, they also changed the speed limits of particular places and areas. So it was not only increasing the money or the fines, and all this, by the way, in the name of to make these drivers deter or fear to commit the like crime. Fearing to pay a lot of money, because you fear to pay a lot of money, so you find yourself obeying. So to instill discipline, to promote a kind of behavioral change among the drivers on the road. So these limits were changed, and if you can remember that we used to know, or what the regulation, the previous one, used to say, it used to say that we are supposed not to drive beyond 100 kilometers per hour on highways. But this time around, it has been reduced to 90 kilometers per hour. So if I'm on a highway, you are going for Christmas at your home, whenever you reach on a highway, whether there are no hens crossing, there are no cows, the road is as clear as you can think of. The maximum speed limit at that point, or in that place, must not exceed 90 kilometers per hour. But then situations where we talk of 100 kilometers per hour are things like roads like Kampala Express. Yeah, it is where people are allowed to drive up to 100 kilometers per hour, being a dual carriage. Being a dual carriage, vehicles are moving in one direction and there are no others. So you are okay, you can drive at 100. But the maximum also for you is 100. I've seen people fly on that road. 120, 140,
180.
160. Yes, they are there. You are right. So all that is not allowed. The maximum speed limit on expressway is 100 kilometers per hour.
And does that apply to also government vehicles?
Yes.
Oh, indeed?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Or as long as it is a vehicle moving on the road, the regulation catches up with them, except for the vehicles that we have talked about in the other category of right-of-way. The ambulances on emergency, the military vehicles on emergency, police vehicles on emergency, and others. But these other ones, whether government, whether what, you must obey those speed limits are recommended.
Normal highway is 90. Express, highway, 100.
Normal highway is 90. But then when we get to places like built-up areas on highways, we reduce it to 50 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
50 kilometers per hour.
These are town centers.
Town centers.
Homes,
but now highways traversing busy built-up places, that is 50 kilometers per hour. But situations where now you branch off, maybe enter the district, you have seen those roads that branch off the highway, but then again reconnect after. You have understood those roads?
I have, yes.
Now inside there, it is 30 kilometers per hour.
Because you're no longer on the highway.
You are no longer on the highway. And where you are, there are places with many people compared to the highway, because the highway now everyone knows and the road is clear. But inside there are even children, there are it is busy. Animals. And also, in other words, all places of high human traffic have been reduced to 30 kilometers per hour. So such a places I've told you about, and then places like where we find schools, hospitals, mosques, churches, all those places, it is 30 kilometers per hour.
Not beyond.
And no beyond. And the roads where now we also get to community access roads. You leave the highway, you leave the road, now you enter. You are driving inside Kororo, you are driving inside where community service roads. It is also 30 kilometers per hour. Expect their children, expect their pregnant mothers, expect their old people. So it is 30 kilometers per hour.
Does that mean that if I'm driving my car around the business center, basically Wandegea, Mulago, that is 30 kilometers per hour?
Yes, that is 30 kilometers
So many people are very mad with you about this issue. But going back to the Auto Express penalty system, Afande, you talked about me receiving my ticket. How do I receive it? If I have indeed gone past the speed limit, how do I get the ticket? How do I know that I've actually been fined?
Well, now, when you violate, actually what people also need to know is that for the initial stage of this system, it is going to be looking at two offenses. One is speeding, the one that we have been now singing.
Yes.
But then there's also running of red lights.
Okay.
Those that violate.
Oh,
so for those who have been violated, those who are used to violating, my friends of border borders.
So many culprits.
Now they are problems. So if you violate the traffic red lights, then you get a ticket. So what happens is that these cameras will capture whoever has violated. And those photos and all the details, number plates, even the photos, even the photo of you and the vehicle, the number plates and everything are automatically sent to the center, to the command center, where the things are processed. And if sometimes maybe they are not clear, and they can be rejected, but if they are clear, then they can be approved immediately, and there and then they are approved, and then
they're sent to me?
Tickets are issued. Yes, ticket is issued. It comes back to you. Who does it go to? It goes to the vehicle that the registration details that are for that particular vehicle which has been got in an offense. Okay? For example, the vehicle is registered in the names of Segawa.
Yes.
And of course, the registration details are the email address and the telephone contact. Not so.
Yes.
So immediately it is approved and it is to be issued. A ticket comes to you, a message comes to you. The message comes to you in form of SMS and email address with that receipt showing you even the PRN number where we are supposed to pay now from after. It even shows you the amount of money, where you have violated from, the time you violated, the vehicle you are driving, photos like, so there's nothing like, me, I was not the one, I was not there, I don't know this. You know, these are the things that they are using these days.
Yes, indeed.
The old system here, okay, the system now which is still functioning, those are the changes that we get. Someone will come and say, I am seeing this ticket in my vehicle. It was given to me in Imbare, yet me, I've never stepped in Imbare, and my vehicle has never stepped in Imbare. And let me tell you, sometimes it becomes hard for you now for us to prove to that person that
because there is lacking of evidence.
And sometimes, by the way, it could be possible.
Yes.
You can give a vehicle to a friend, and maybe they go there, or even you make an error or a small, because remember, if a vehicle has these other UA something M, then 67U, 667U, and now instead of 67U, you say 665U, or even you miss any single digit, it gives you a different vehicle.
True.
Yeah. So every time we have been calling people to come with complaints on EPS, those are things that we have been handling even up to today. And you find, yes, you really prove and say, in fact, this man is, or this person is not the owner of this ticket. This was a wrong ticket. But with the automated system, it is very clear.
Applies the photograph, the location where you are.
Yes, time. The time meaning now, you know, people had a habit. Say, someone comes, I come and borrow your vehicle. I say, please give me your vehicle. I'm reaching here, just here. And you give it to me, I'm going to go get it. So I rush, I pull up to Ginger.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, I'm in the Ginger.
Yeah.
So what happens, if I'm violating now, along the way, I'm violating the speed now.
Because you want to rush and be back.
And come back.
Oh.
So now tickets come. When tickets come, remember the vehicle is in your names. Not to me, can I know who was borrowed. No, it is in your names as Segawa. Now you start seeing messages. What do you mean my vehicle? Or what is this? So immediately you call and say, hey, you man, where are you? I can't deceive because you are seeing. So you see how that thing can also now help us.
It does.
You know, here people would come, they take a vehicle, they deceive you, I'm going somewhere here. All of a sudden they give them tickets, they keep quiet and keep those tickets. As for you are driving your own things, traffic officers stop you, they check. They say, you man, you have tickets. How did this ticket come?
When you're not very oblivious about the tickets.
To tell you, to show you the names, it is the mechanic, my mechanic who had taken it to repair, now he has put tickets.
So in that way, then how do I check? For example, if per se I've bought my wife a car, it's probably not registered in her names, or maybe a friend gifted me a car and it's not registered in my names. But then I get fines, and probably them are not in a position of receiving these tickets. How can I check for a particular car what fines it has accumulated over time?
We have UPF Mobi, that we can always download on our phones or the Android phones. iPhones cannot accommodate it, but
UPF?
Mobi. UPF.
It's
Mobi.
UPF Mobi.
Then Mobi.
Okay.
MOBI. So you're able to put the vehicle, and it brings you details and the money, the amount it is having. That is, as of now, the system that we can use, or the app that can be used to check. And what people have been doing is that you go and buy someone's car, or someone sells to you a vehicle, and you don't check. It's very dangerous. And as you are driving, the vehicle that probably bought 15 million, you find out it has 3 million.
Exactly.
So, and for us as police enforcers, you not tell us.
You're the new owner.
That I did not know. You are the new owner.
So, are these now transferred to me, the new owner?
No, yes, because it is your responsibility as the person who is interested to buy this car to first check.
Okay.
Because now, does it mean that, for example, if you buy a vehicle that has a caveat on, a vehicle which has been put in the bank and then sold to you, what will you say? Will you tell the banker that me, leave me alone, and me, I just bought? No way. That was your ignorance. You have to go ahead and check, search if this vehicle has any encumbrance. That's when you are able to go. And when we talk of encumbrances, we also mean the police tickets.
The previous.
If this person was reckless, handle your issues. If not for you, the person will find with the vehicle, then you have to pay. Okay,
so away from the speed limits, now you talked about running red lights on the traffic lights. How about in a situation whereby usually this is in the morning or in the evening, high traffic times, and the traffic officer directs me to actually run the red light? What happens there?
Yeah. What happens there, number one, that what people need to know, every time the law talks of it, that when a traffic officer is the one manning the lights, he takes precedence over the lights. So when we see traffic officer there, we have to obey. That's what I'm meaning. We have to obey what the traffic officer is directing us to do. So in this situation, we are saying that this traffic officer, before they get to those points to regulate, instead of now the system, they have to call. Because we know there can be some maybe emergencies that may call now for people to run the red lights. So, but they have now to inform the people in the command center and say, we are going to Ginger Road, for example. There's a problem. All areas, once they get there and they start manning or handling this, then immediately those people behind the computers are able to see and realize and know. And then once they see, then immediately they're able now to turn off the other thing of ours.
Okay.
Exactly.
So they
that
have
one's catered for. That one's catered for.
The traffic officer's responsibility to alert.
And that another thing that people need to know, these tickets, you can also appeal. You can say, this ticket I was given, I think it's not proper. So you put your points, and then you lodge a complaint, and then they listen to you. So not that it is final, whatever you get, that is all, or no way. You can also explain to us the circumstances you are given, but you have, of course, also to have all the evidence and all that. Because I told you, the evidence that comes through it, through your email and whatever, is sufficient on our side.
That's
but
very
you must
tricky.
also have now. You never know. You can also urge out your point. But what I'm trying to tell people, or to let people know, is that even like it has been before, some people would come and appeal and say, no, yes, no, as much as I have this ticket, but the officers maliced me. Some people even go ahead to record some conversations before they get those tickets. And once we listen to them, then we are also convinced and say, no, I think this ticket was not proper. And then we know how to punish our officers. So that one is also catered for. That's what I want people to know.
What are some of the plans in place probably to ensure accuracy, because it's what we've been talking about, and also transparency, because I know so many people are concerned about corruption, about how selective that system could be, and how do you make the Mwananchi, all the road users, feel comfortable and confident that this system is actually really accurate and transparent. Are there things that have been probably discussed?
And I think that is why my colleague who was missed to be here, though I think that she would have been explained to, she would be explained to the public. But however, the officers also behind those cameras who are going to be handling that, they are also audited at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Because now we also want to know under which circumstances did you cancel this ticket, and under which circumstances did you give this ticket. So all those are things are catered for. Not that it's just you just cancel anytime you want and you no. They are also checked. They are also audited. They are also auditors who will come at the end of the day and say, okay,
wait a
let
minute.
us see.
How did this happen?
Segawa, how did you explain Segawa when he ran the red lights?
Yeah.
You rated to him, so you want to know. So some of those things we also get to understand.
Wow. Well, at this moment, I want to remind you, the viewer who is watching at home, that you can be part of the conversation. This is an opportunity for you to understand the Auto Express penalty system and go to our Twitter account, that is at NTV Uganda. You'll look at the opinion poll posted, asking you what your thoughts are on the auto penalty system, and probably ask questions they're fun they can be able to answer right here. And at this moment, I want to read some of the comments that are coming through on Twitter. We posted, what do you think about the Auto Express penalty system? Do you think it will improve road safety or cause more challenges for drivers? And these are some of your thoughts. From Jim Spire Sentongo, he says, what can work where there is official corruption? Interesting. Danny Yeli says, you'll see how selective this so-called Auto Express penalty will be. Few systems actually work in this country. Sometimes the hype is very underwhelming. Then King says, if things continue as they are, its efficiency will slowly die out. Asimwe Allen says, the success of the Auto Express penalty system hinges on addressing corruption. Without transparency and accountability, it's unlikely to improve road safety. Michael says they jumped onto something with little research, but rather with hopes of making so much money out of it. And if they are wise, we have forgotten that the new expensive number plate can't be traced on any system. Kauma says it is business as usual for the mafias. Oh dear. Fabian Housemaid says it will definitely improve road safety. People hate their pockets being squeezed, so after a few tickets, folks will follow the traffic rules, which you mentioned earlier. And Clark Kent M says, abakungu singa nabo bazisasula, but Uganda olemwa. And and probably the last comment, Alai Benaldi, malfunctioning cameras or misidentified plates compel wrongful fines. The lack of technical standards for video submissions also risk unfair prosecutions without drivers' ability to access evidence. Well, go ahead and comment, ask a few questions that you have to. Afande, you've had some of the concerns. Number one, does this system apply to the old plates or only to the new plates?
The system applies to all, both, whether old or new.
Yeah.
And maybe to comment on the comments that have been put, you know, we are in a community where I think, we are in a community where even what is meant to be good or for something for good purposes, people now turn it the other way around. However, some people have put good comments. And one thing that I can tell those that have commented, we can choose, you know, the system does not force everyone to pay this money.
Indeed.
No. Those who comply and obey and do what is right, where will these fines find you? Nowhere. But then before we also criticize the system and talk about all that ill about it, have we taken time to see what is happening in terms of speeding on the road and the effects, the devastating effects it is causing on our roads, the lives that we have lost? So probably if this money is there, and then maybe people fear that instead of paying this money, I have a friend of mine who was telling me something amazing and said that he used to love speeding on the road so much. So one time he was got speeding, was given a ticket of 200,000, he paid. Second time, the same thing. So he sat down and asked himself, 400,000 because of speeding.
That could have been spent on something else.
Exactly. The man guy was like, I mean, I have children to go to school. They need school fees. I wish I saved this money. It would go somewhere else that is useful than this thing. And after all, if I obey the speed limits, who benefits?
Myself.
Avane,
on that note.
And the guy told me and said, from then, I have decided, whether in the night, whether they are officers or not,
never to speed.
I'm telling you.
Afande, we have run out of time, but before I let you go, what is the one last word you have for
one last
road users? In 30 seconds.
One. Road safety is a collective responsibility. We all have roles to play when it comes to road safety. We have what to do to make sure that these roads are safe. It is not a one-man's thing. It's not a top officer's thing to ensure that people are safe, everyone. And to my friends out there who are accustomed to speeding and running the red lights, it's good this message has come. Those that have ears, they have heard. Start obeying as early as yesterday. Start obeying the speed limits. These tickets will not get you anywhere, never. And in the way making, you are safe on the road. And even other people are safe on the road.
Because of you.
Just because of you.
Afande,
thank you.
Thank you so much for the conversation and coming through today. That has been SP Police Michael Kanarura, Chief Licensing Officer at the Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety. Well, for you who has been watching, remember, road safety starts with you. When you drive faster than you are supposed to, it's you who's going to get into an accident and probably lose a limb, an eye, or worse, your life. So please keep safe and continue the conversation on our social media platforms and using the hashtag AutoExpressUG and hashtag RoadSafetyUG. That's all that we had for you on this discussion today. Have a wonderful day.